Hey guys. Welcome to another 10X Owners Live. You made it back. It was really interesting, the last 10X Owners Live. Do we have Jared ready? Because I'd love to talk to him. Let's pin up Jared real quick. The last 10X Owners Live, there he is. Hey Jared, how are you, buddy? So I don't have Jared. Can you pull him up real quick? You got him now? Yep. Okay. Hey Jared. So the last 10X Owners Live, I guess we put such a polish on the entertainment factor and the high quality It's weird because, you know, I tried to explain what 10X Owners Live was to business owners that needed to come and get advice and have other inspiration from other business owners. And I said, it's kind of like, you know, if you ever seen, you know, Cardone Zone, right? Or you ever seen the G&E show, right? But then you've also been to a mentor call. It's like a mixture of both of those. It's like it's a mentor call mixed with a show. It's interactive. You know, everybody gets to participate and learn, and yet you know, we play clips and talk to people like Jared. So it's a nice mix. But people were going, this is pre-recorded. This is pre-recorded. I'm like, it's not pre-recorded. What time is it right now so people know this is not?
7:52 p.m. East Coast.
There you go. East Coast 7:52, 4:52 here in the West. So I wanted to talk to Jared really quickly about attitude. I think in times like this, business owners, you know, yes, you may have the strategy. Yes, you may have the technical or tactical execution, but self-health and mental health and the awareness of input equals output. You know, Brandon always says what you think is what you say, and that eventually becomes what you do. So Jared, what would you say, you know, I could get super deep here, but I'd love to just hear from you. What would you say from a 10X lifestyle standpoint are the most important key things for people who are trying to keep a positive attitude as they're striving in this epidemic right now?
Well, unfortunately, if people are looking for answers on how to get positive now, they're already in a tough spot, because it just becomes even more difficult to do so now. And that's why, you know, what we've done in our office is so important for people to take back to their businesses.
Right.
Culture is something that is built to carry you through times like this.
Right.
Like, particularly if you have a business where your people are all based in an office and you come to work every day, you can put some type of control in the environment. If you don't take advantage of that and you don't maximize that and you don't build something that can be destroyed in 3 days out of the office, then when you come to a time like now, whoever knew that they would be able to say, don't go anywhere for a month and a half?
I know.
Whoever thought that?
It's crazy, right? I'm going to throw you out of order here, Bryce, but to Jared's point, who would have ever thought? I want to talk about Elon Musk really quickly. Elon Musk, he was thinking this way. Can we show the Elon Musk clip really quick? By the way, if you're on Zoom right now, I know we're on Facebook, YouTube. Brandon Dawson's coming. He's moments away for 10X Owners Live with all the wisdom today. Awesome. If you're on Zoom, though, hit the full screen button and make sure instead of grid view, you can do it's called speaker or presenter view. You're going to get the full picture of everything that we're playing here. So play this Elon Musk. Speaking of no one ever thought, people laughed when Elon Musk said, I'm going to create an air conditioner in this car that is higher than hospital quality. People laughed at him. And so let's take a quick look at that clip from Elon.
The net effect of the air filtration system is that you have air cleanliness levels which are comparable to a hospital operating room in the car. And in fact, when the car is operating at its at maximum capability, so if you sort of press max capability in the car, we can't even detect any viruses or bacteria or spores. So it's like zero come through. So if there's ever sort of a apocalyptic scenario of some kind.
If there's ever an apocalyptic scenario of some kind, you know what I mean? It's like, Jared, people were laughing at him. You know, and now here, like, who wants the hospital quality air in their car now? You know, it's just
Yeah,
crazy.
I mean, you know, it's these crazy times. But you know, back to the original point, it's like you know, if you guys are trying to pivot and make any big changes in your business now,
Right.
That are culture focused, I mean, those are things that should already be in. Now, having said that, what do you do?
Right.
Probably more about stuff that you eliminate than stuff that you add in. You know, like, you know, get your people to turn the TV off. You know, stop, you know, gossiping about the deal. We talked about the news feed. Stay off the news feed of
Right.
social platforms because you just get sucked into all kinds of stuff. So, you know, you just got to put some control on what you allow in,
Right.
more than anything else. And just what we've done. And again, if you can call it momentum,
Yep.
culture momentum, we've brought a lot of momentum into this. So like we're doing our calls every morning. Everybody's still on there. They're still suited up.
Right.
They're still drilling and role playing. You know, they're still doing all that stuff. But that's a product of being committed to doing the right thing every day, not just when things are bad.
Right. And so you guys have created, you know, I think what's been astonishing is people come into Cardone headquarters and they see the way you guys operate, right? That's always been it's sort of been a luxury for business owners to come in and get a sneak peek of how you do your morning meetings, how you do your role play. Like you have this process and it's so clean, and you guys so quickly were able to pivot and create this virtual process that's very similar to the in-person process. Would you say that that was something that was really important for you guys, and was that something that was easy for you, or do you have tips on how to pivot that way?
Well, I you know, it's you know, Grant's terrified of the remote thing.
Yeah.
You know, because you know, like you lose so much control over what people do every day because
Right.
they're in an environment where we have no control over what's going on around them. You know,
Right.
when you're in the office, you can eliminate a lot of variables, and when you're at home, you're in a variable rich environment. You know, there's a lot going on that can come across. Our morning sales meeting today, for example, I was just flipping through my notes because I was taking notes during the sales meeting this morning.
Yeah.
So those guys are required to do training on their own, so that at 8:20, when we do our first kind of sales focus, not office meeting, sales meeting,
Right.
the guys talk about what they've done. So already 8:20 in the morning, most of them are already worked out, and then they're coming at 8:20 and they've already done training.
Yep.
So just think about those two things when you're thinking about your team right now. Like they're not showing up in an office, they're showing up at Zoom.
Right.
By 8:20, they've already done 30 minutes of training, and most of them have already exercised, eat breakfast, showered, and they're suited up.
Right. I'm hearing the word discipline here. That's
well, and really it's control.
Yeah.
But not control like you're thinking, like control of the organization. We have been able to educate our people on the importance of them to have control over themselves
Right.
in their day.
Right.
And all of that, you know, that in discipline are synonymous. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
The ability to do the same thing over and over again comes from controlling the environment so that people are forced to do the same thing over and over again.
Right.
And you know, and that's done wonders for us now.
I love that. Well, we're going to run out of time here for the pre-show. Jared, I've asked Jared to come on, by the way, to do this pre-show. He's got so much wisdom, and I always love it when you speak. By the way, if anybody wants to join Young Hustlers, are you still going with Young Hustlers from home, or how are you doing this now?
Yeah, we're working it out.
Cool.
Every Thursday, noon East Coast Standard Time, we typically are live on Facebook. So you can catch it there. You can grab it on Grant Cardone TV or
perfect.
You know, or the podcast. It's under Cardone Zone podcast now. So
okay, perfect. Really quickly, Jared, I thought you would enjoy this. I have cut out all news, hard journalism news, because obviously it's very sensational. They're trying to grab those headlines. They're trying to throw the clickbait to get you to be interested and emotional and involved. But the one thing I've done when we talk about attitude, to sort of decompress but still soak in something outside of my daily routine, I have turned to TikTok, because to me, it's unbelievably positive. even in the midst of the coronavirus. And so I wanted to share one of my favorite clips. We're going to go straight to the Miami clip. This is right there where you're at on the East Coast in Miami. Maybe you've seen this. Here's a guy in Miami who says, I'm going to turn this quarantine into a good situation. And he brings out the turntables on the balcony. Have you
I
seen
saw
this?
this, yeah.
Yeah, so let's watch that. That's how you take a city and pull it together. Am I right?
Totally. In Miami, and they cancel Ultra, so
I know, it's like little mini ultras everywhere. It's so cool. I don't know. Anyway, Jared, I really do appreciate you coming here and give us
always a pleasure.
A little bit of time. We'll take a quick 60-second break, and then Brandon's going to kick off 10X Owners Live. Thank you guys so much for coming again to 10X Owners Live. We'll be right back. Hang on.
They call me back. It's called Wayne something.
Doesn't have big titties.
So
Howdy.
You're live.
Hey everybody, it's Brandon Dawson. Welcome to our 10X Owners Live show. It's Tuesday, 5 o'clock Pacific time, 8 o'clock East Coast time. I'm here in the studio with Buck and crew. We are all 6 feet apart.
That's right. Show that William cam over here. We are all 6 feet apart.
Yeah.
My wife texted me earlier. She goes, "Are you washing your hands?" I'm like, "Come on, babe. Like, we are very safe right here."
That's right. And we've all been quarantined together for the last month, so I feel like
That's true.
I feel like you guys are my family.
Good
Hey,
point.
listen, I've been getting a lot of questions all week as people are thinking about their businesses and thinking about the implications of this going longer, as we saw pushing this thing out till probably around May 1st, the end of April. Number one, priority, stay in tune with your customers. Get a hold of your customers, talk to your customers. Don't presume, don't assume, don't think that something is or is not going on in the minds of your customers. Over communicate, reach out to them, talk to them, find out what's working for them, find out what kind of things you can do to help them. Second thing is make sure you segment your customer base. Most profitable, been with you the longest time. to least profitable, shortest time so that you can lean in as the business owner or leader. You can lean into the people that matter the most, that have been there for your business, that you have a great relationship with. Number 3, pull as much revenue forward as you can. Figure out a way to offer solutions or programs or discounts. Don't discount your normal business. Only discount it if you pull it forward. Don't start slashing prices. Number 4, know your data. All of you have had plenty of time, even in this moment where you've been reacting, trying to keep up with the market. Pay attention to your data. When we get on the call tonight with J.D. Frost, we're going to be talking about data, key performance indicators. This is very important. You must know your data. Know what matters the most. Know what you're measuring against. Cardone talked last night on our mentors call, both Jared and Grant Cardone, about how many phone calls it takes to get the same result or even a diminished result when the market was hot. So 4 times the number of calls to get to a client, whereas maybe you could do 4x less and talk to more clients. So know your numbers, not your old numbers, your new numbers. What activity, what behavior, what engagement do you need today to get the result that you need to survive tomorrow so that you can thrive when we come out the other side of this thing? And then the most important thing here, Grant talked about this last night, and he shot a few YouTube videos about it. I, myself, Natalie, Seth, and Kristen, they've been in lockdown with us now for, they came, 2 weeks ago. They've been quarantined in our home with us. Every day, our workout routines, our sleeping routines, our eating routines, staying in rhythm. Grant talks about how important this is to stay in rhythm. Keep your mind clear. Keep your body active. Take the pressure out through doing something, exerting energy so that you have a free mind space. And it's very important to think clearly in these times, to be thinking about the next opportunity, to shore up things that you need to shore up today. These are the 5 priorities. And so as we get on the call today and start working through this stuff and taking calls, talking to J.D. Frost, we're going to be talking specifically around how to do these things. But the most important is data.
You talk about pulling cash forward, right?
Yep.
I actually was listening to J.D. Frost early this morning. I know, is J.D. on? Can we put, okay, we'll come to J.D. in just a little bit. We have a financial theme today, but he was talking about, your business breathes, right? And the only way it breathes is with cash.
Your cash is your oxygen.
So that is the key for people right now that are wondering, what is it that I need to be doing? You need to be pulling cash forward into the business. You talked about one of the ways to do that is tuning in with your customer, right?
Yep.
So I want to play a quick clip. This is a very young Mark Cuban and his advice on customers.
People often ask me what it takes to start a business. What is the key ingredient? How did I start the business, and how did we grow to about $20 million in sales so quickly? They all come up with some new whiz-bang idea. They're going to invent the better mousetrap. They're going to come up with new software, new hardware. And more often than not, it seems like they've spent their millions before they thought through their idea. But when we talk about new companies and growth and success, there really is only one common ingredient across any type of business, whether it's oil or computers or software or anything. And that key ingredient is customers. Without customers, whether you're starting a business, running a business, expanding a business, you don't have a business. There is no business. Customers are the key ingredient. To get those profits, you got to have the customers. And you got to have happy customers. That's the bottom line.
Real key word there, right? Happy customers. So they should be super serving their customers right now, right? Let's see. So really quickly, I wanted to just show you guys, Brandon, you've got the book down there. We actually have a resource for business owners, and it's called the Business Emergency or the Emergency Business Protocol. It's a book that is going to be released in the coming weeks. And this book is going to run through so many aspects of the business, all quadrants of the business, am I right?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about your business, it has its own ecosystem. And you got the sales cycle in the business, you've got marketing, you've got operations, you have finance, you have human resource, you have strategy, you have all these different elements of the business. And one of the things that's been clear to me, based on all the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of phone calls that I've been on with business owners that I've been coaching for years, not just the Cardone family of business owners and Cardone Ventures and through Cardone Enterprises, but through my different iterations of businesses that I've had. My client list and friend list and extended family list is exceptionally long. So I've been on the phone with businesses that range from $1 million all the way up to 3.8 billion, working through navigating, counseling, strategizing, and there's a resounding theme that keeps coming around, which is, I wish there was some kind of protocol for this. And I started thinking, I recently purchased an airplane so I could get around and see more clients and be more places. And I spent a lot of time with both Ryan Secco and Grant. And, Ryan has a certain personality, but when he gets on that airplane and he gets up in there in the captain's chair, he has a completely different personality. He flips to very methodical. He's no longer funny guy. He is going through a certain protocol. And after watching this and kind of watching my pilots do that, I thought to myself, hey, why don't I reach out to one of my number one mentors, Story Musgrave, the only guy that flew all 5 space shuttles. He designed, deployed, and then went up and fixed Hubble. And why don't I go back to, I spent a whole day, 8 hours, asking any questions I wanted. And I went back and watched that. And then I called Story and I said, Story, the way NASA operates, I need to create a checklist, a protocol, a business protocol checklist of what to do in the event that there's a disaster or a crisis or an emergency. How can you give me guidance and advice to do that? So he did, and sure enough, this is not the real book. We are doing an ebook that's going to come out in the next 2 weeks, and basically walking business owners through what to do in the moment you have an emergency, a crisis, something that takes you, because for business owners, in my line of business, I see emergencies and crisis modes all the time. So this isn't just for this particular situation, but what I want to do is get this out to you guys in the next couple weeks. And so Buck will talk about how to get your copy.
Yep.
But basically, it is the data that I've been receiving from all the different business owners, all the conversations I've had. I'm trying to dump it into a checklist to go through so that people can have something to go to when they're running into trouble, that they can just check off the list like Ryan Secco does when he gets on the airplane.
That's right. Yeah. Like Brandon mentioned, this isn't just for a healthcare pandemic. This isn't just from a global economic crisis, but this checklist, I've been reading through all these chapters, and there's just an unbelievable amount of information that can keep you structured and outlined as you go through these crises. Maybe you're a business in New Orleans, and like when the flood hit, your business is one of the only businesses affected, or you lost 50% of your employees overnight for whatever reason. Like, these are crises that businesses go through, and this book is the perfect book to go, okay, I need to reset, I need to rethink. Where do I even start? Where do I start with operations? Where do I start with marketing? So you can reserve your copy right now if you go to cardoneventures.com/emergency. cardoneventures.com/emergency. Go to that link, fill it out. As soon as the book is ready in the next few weeks, you're going to be one of the first to have it.
Hey, and I want to talk about this. I had a business I was managing when Katrina hit. And that business was devastated. It was wiped out. That particular business owner had about 8 competitors. It was a specialty retail business, 8 competitors in his marketplace. And the business was gone. And so he moved to Dallas for a few weeks, or for a few months, and really was going to pull his family out. They were not going to go back to Lake Charles. And I said, look, let's put a strategy together. Let's be the first in. Let's plant a flag. This is an opportunity. You had a great business. It was a healthy business. You have an opportunity to beat your competitors back and to be known as the person who wanted to reinvest in that marketplace, who believed they needed to be coming back and building their business. And he opened, and within 18 months, from his grand opening. The business was 60% larger than it had been at the peak of the business. And he eventually sold it for a premium because he became the dominant player overnight. So I talked about this on the last show. You're going to lose somewhere between 1/3 and 2/3 of your competitors over a period of time because they either won't have the resources, they were way too bloated, they've lost their courage, or they're retreating. So remember, there's fight, flight, or...
Fight, flight, or I know flight
freeze,
or fight. Or
baby,
freeze. I don't know freeze.
Come on.
Teach
fight,
me, Brandon. What is
flight,
freeze?
Or freeze.
I don't know that one.
Your competitors are going to fight, they're going to flight, or they're going to freeze. What I would recommend to you is you think about fighting.
Yeah.
Let's do it. And that's what we're going to be talking about on today's program.
Smart. We're going to get into a discussion about finances specifically. Really quickly, I want to mention for those on the Instagram Live, I know most of you are on Zoom, over 300 of you showed up. That shows me that there is a need for businesses across America. Thank you so much. If you're in the chat room right now, I want you to start writing your financial questions for Brandon, JD Frost, and Mike Halloran, who's our CFO here at Cardone Ventures. Start writing those questions now. Can we get the roam camera? I want to show Josh is back here fielding questions. There he is. JD's in the house. We've got the rest of the crew fielding questions over here. So please put your questions there in the comments. I do want to mention, if you're on Instagram, head over to cardoneventures.com if you want to join our Zoom chat. Really quickly, before we get into the questions, Brandon, a lot of people on social were talking about last week's 10X Owners Live. You were talking about the challenges that business owners face, and you became emotional. And I want to just play that back and ask you some questions about it. Or for anyone that's on our Owners Live now that missed it, here's a quick clip from last week.
I, as a human being, have had plenty of moments where I buried my head in my pillow because I didn't want anybody hearing me and bawled my eyes out. I guarantee you these men have had those moments. I can feel it right now. I feel it because I've been there. This is such a shitty thing to feel. The superintendent of my daughter's school was going to join on this. He had to send all the kids, all the teachers home. Like loss of control is such a painful thing, and then to have to make decisions that hurt other people to preserve the bigger picture, the mission. It's painful, it's devastating, but it has to happen because in that moment, if you don't make the decision, it kills everything.
I wanted to play that clip because we're going to be talking about finances here, but behind those numbers are people. And when you talk about a 10X life, I think sometimes it's misconstrued as like barrel ahead, stop at nothing, nothing matters. And there's a lot of emotion that's tied up in a 10X lifestyle, doing what's right. And so, Brandon, I wanted to just ask you about that clip. It's obvious that you've experienced these things. And so that's why people come here, right? They come here because you've been through this before, and you have the experience, and you have the knowledge of how to move forward. So when you see that clip...
well, it makes me emotional again.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pain going on right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you have to make tough decisions.
And in my line of work, I'm absorbing everyone's tough decisions right now. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm on the phone with people who are contemplating laying off 3,000 people.
Wow.
I'm on the phone with people whose families are now fighting and destroying what is there over stupid stuff because of the fear, the anxiety, the stress. I'm on the phone with people who are trying to make a decision about one of two employees. So the line of work, I'm on the front lines, and that's the work that I'm in. And my job is to absorb the energy and to help people isolate their thinking in the moment to make the best immediate decision that allows them to stay on mission at some point in time. And this is the conversation I had. See, here's the thing. The reason that we started this show is because most of you that are watching this do not have access to enough of the right kind of mentors. I have been so blessed. I personally get to talk to Grant every day for 30 minutes to reprogram my thinking. I get to reach out and talk to Story Musgrave about NASA and how NASA operates. I have a friend that's on this call tonight. I'm going to save it. His name's Adam. I'm going to save this for next week because this person is an outstanding human being. But I'm going to have him share how he's learned to deal with pressure and stress, because he's one of you business owners watching this that had a business that was growing at 50 or 60% that came to a screeching halt. But his training is remarkable and his service to our country is remarkable. And I want you to hear from him, and I'm going to talk to him and interview him next week.
Love that.
But for me, being able to call John Maxwell, I talked to Sharon Lecter last night for 25 minutes. John and I have been in communication. Grant Cardone and I are talking on a regular basis. Story Musgrave, I reached out to say, okay, you're in space, you've got an emergency, you've got a whole team of people at home, you're floating around in space and things are going bad. In that instantaneous moment, what do you do? And he said, I isolate. I isolate the moment. I shut off my thinking and I listen to the commands that I need to implement or I need to deploy or I need to do at that moment. I stop making decisions. I give control up. And I thought about that and I thought, how many business owners need that? Not just in an emergency, but to be more efficient, to be more effective. The purpose of this show is to bring this, to take all the resources I have, all the experience I have, and to bring it to you, our audience, our business owners, and the people that we want to mentor, help, and grow with for the rest of our lives.
Perfect. Beautiful. Let's bring up JD Frost, who's going to give us some financial help here. I know we're going to probably talk about loans. We're probably going to talk about employees and furloughs and all of those things that I don't do because I'm the creative marketing guy, so I don't know those things. I'm here to learn as well as everybody else, other business owners that are going through these challenges right now. JD, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it. We also have Mike Halloran, who's our CFO, who's going to jump in at some point. So we'll bring Mike up as well. But Brandon, JD, go for it.
Hey, JD, how are you, brother?
Hey, I'm good. How are you doing? Thanks for having me on here. I really appreciate it.
Of course, and obviously, Cardone Ventures is partnered, just as a full disclosure, Cardone Ventures is partnered with you to work with many of the clients that we share and people that we bring to you that we're platforming and working with to make sure they get everything organized and they have a professional perspective on their overall finances and strategic planning. And so we've worked very closely together for about the last year. And I thought it'd be great to have you on the line for people that have questions. I've got friends staying with me at the house. They've been sequestered with me. And, they've been going online every single day. They were making, $1.5 million routinely in the event space, completely shut off. Zero.
Yep.
They've got deposits on hand. They're online all day trying to pound the keys to get on the government websites, and it's archaic, doesn't work. There's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of concern, there's a lot of frustration, a lot of fear. So I wanted you, because I know you're dealing with this with lots of clients right now, and I asked you to come on the show with us, and also we have our CFO, Mike Halloran, who's helping, in addition to our Cardone Ventures team, all of our clients that we've worked with in the past, because we're in full-blown emergency mode for everyone that relies on us. So JD, talk a little bit about what you're experiencing with all the clients you're working with currently.
Initially I'm experiencing a ton of business owners that are confused, like you talked about, that are worried, that are hyper tensive. It's very, very tense conversations, a lot more emotions, like everything is basically kind of ramped up a little bit to a higher degree. And, a lot of business owners just don't know what to do. They don't understand what the next step is. And so what I've been spending a lot of time on in our team is coming up with these solutions and coming up with these, hopefully, strategies, best practices around this $2 trillion stimulus package that's basically come out, or relief act, and helping them and guiding them through that, and not only just telling them the rules and here's the calculation and here's the particulars of it, but being somebody that they can listen to during this time, somebody that's going to have a good attitude, that's going to help them believe that we can get through this, that's going to give them the courage to get through this, and maybe not even just get through it, but thrive in it.
And what's the tactical aspect that you're able to help them with right now?
I mean, really, right now with the CARES Act, there are so many different parts of it. There's about 8 different parts that affect every single business owner, especially if you have payroll. Okay. And as far as a tactical play, I saw lots of people in there on the comments and everything, and they're exactly right. The website to apply on the SBA website, the emergency grant, that $10,000 that's available, that is one of the first things that business owners need to be going to. It's a pretty easy application. It's about 3 pages right now. I actually applied on the very first website that they had up there. It was very archaic. It froze up. I mean, it was a disaster. And so as far as a tactical play, the very first thing that people need to do, got a little static there.
Yeah.
The very first thing that people need to do is to go on that website and go ahead and start the application process. And that's for your economic injury disaster loan. That's for the EIDL, which also is known as a 7B loan. On that application, you are starting the qualification process for that loan. And that's a loan that you can get that's from $25,000 up to $2 million. And on that application, you check the box to get your $10,000 emergency grant.
Got it. So your piece of advice is be patient, continue to go do that immediately. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, no matter what, when you're in a place like this, and you touched it in your introductory remarks, is collaborating with people, collaborating with professionals, getting around the right people that are going to help you lay out a plan. I had a webinar today for about an hour and 45 minutes talking to them about how to go about this strategically for your business. I mean, right now, your balance sheet is the most important part of your business. It's the amount of cash that you have. It's the obligations that you have. What's interesting is most business owners, they only run their business, or at least the ones that I see most of the time, we're typically looking at the income statement. Everybody's worried about how much money am I making? What are my revenues? What are my expenses? What's my net profit? So that I can minimize my taxes. Now, all of a sudden, in an emergency situation, in a situation like this, we are looking at the balance sheet. What do we have to live on? And how can we live the longest? Because the businesses that are able to live the longest right now and continue to breathe are going to be the ones that survive. And so that is what I'm trying to help people understand right now. Now is not the time to make quick decisions. It's the time to get aligned with the right person that's going to walk alongside you over the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months.
Yeah, and I mean, you and I were working on this with businesses that, it's funny how much the world's changed. We were working with business owners who came through my programs and realized, hey, we need to get a handle on this. We need to understand what the health of our business is, not just what we are doing in revenues and what we think we're making, but we need to get the overall perspective of the health of our business, and then we need to do the right kind of planning to create more health, right? To create a more healthy business that can not just survive but thrive. And for the people, the important part is, and this is not the time to express this, but 5 months from now it will be. The old idea that I don't need to pay attention to those details, that you and I would listen to people and be like, that doesn't matter, I'm doing what I'm doing, and it just works out. The old idea that you don't need to be hyper-focused on making sure you have a healthy business with plenty of the right kind of reserves and paying attention to the right kind of details, that's gone, because this is something that I can say not a single person I've communicated with, from the highest levels of relationships in the government all the way down to some of the most significant authors or business owners that I've ever met, nobody, and Jared talked about at the beginning of this call, nobody ever thought they would get a phone call to say, stay at home, shut everything down, nobody can leave, and this could be going on for the next 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that's the thing. Everybody's got to start thinking about their business differently. And what's been interesting for me is, being in accounting and help people with their taxes and filing 1099s and their payroll records and making sure that all that information is correct. Now, all of a sudden, to take advantage as much as possible of this CARES Act is you've got to have this information. It's got to be in line. I've been talking to so many people too, they're like, hey, how do I take advantage of this? And they're like, I haven't filed my tax return since 2017. And so they don't even have access to the rebate checks that are coming out. The $2,400, if you're making less than $150,000 married filing jointly, the $2,400, they don't even have access to that because they have not filed their tax returns.
It's crazy, man. Yep.
All of a sudden, these black and white forms that we look at as accountants every single year, these tax returns that we look at every year that nobody really wants to pay attention to, all of a sudden are extremely valuable now. Because the business owners that are going to, not that you're going to sit and wait, I think sitting and waiting is a very, very bad strategy to kind of see where everything plays out. I think that you've got to take some action. You got to start aligning yourself with partners that are going to give you a plan, help you execute a plan, and help you understand that these details, these numbers that you have in your business really do matter.
Yeah.
And the better that you know those numbers, the easier it's going to be to get through this time. I had a business owner last night. I was on the phone with him at 10:30 at night. He's asking me, like you were talking about, should I lay my employees off? Should I not? I said, well, how much cash do you have? And what's your burn rate on that cash? And so how long will you be able to go if you have to furlough your employees? Or if you decide to keep them to try to take advantage of some of these tax credits, how far can you go? And how far do you want to plan for? It's solved with math.
Yeah.
GC talks about how math, it solves a lot of problems and it's pretty straightforward. But we kind of forget about those fundamentals in our business at times like this.
100%. I think Buck wants to jump in here.
Hey, so JD, I know you were talking this morning on your Zoom chat this morning about double dipping and different codes, and it was for my mind, it was like a lot of information. I get that there's a lot of detail to a lot of these loans. I would love to get to some specific questions because we've got Mike, Mike Halloran, your mic is on. If you speak, you will pop up in this feed. So Mike Halloran is here as well. Just feel free to speak. There he is. Thanks, Mike. Hey, thank you, Mike. Thanks.
You want to jump in? Yeah, you want to jump in on any of that, Mike?
No, well, I echo exactly what JD's saying. It's at this point, it's all about receivables, payables, and cash. As far as most likely your business is down, and you really got to live off of what you have, what I'll call collected. And so key will be is, how fast can you collect the receivables and how much can you push off the payables?
So we have these powerhouse minds here. This is what 10X Owners Live is about. You're here. Over 300 people have showed up to the Zoom chat. We have thousands of people on YouTube and Facebook streaming right now, and they've got questions for you. So let's get interactive. By the way, if you are on any of these social platforms and you want to engage and interact, you go to cardonventures.com and sign up for 10X Owners Live so you can join our Zoom. So let's go with Dan Edwards first. If we could pull up and pin Dan Edwards. Dan has a question. And then after Dan, we'll talk to Jim Morales. Get ready for your question. And then I think there's Tim Uselton, I think is how you say your last name there, Tim. But let's go with Dan Edwards first, if we could. Can we pull him up? We got him? No, not yet. Let me ask. Yeah, go ahead, JD.
Can I mention one piece of advice
Yes.
that we haven't talked about, but somebody brought it up in the chat there that I just saw while I was listening to you.
Go for it.
I talked to a banker today, and he's one of these bankers that's helping with the loans, the 7A loans.
Yep.
These are the payroll, basically the PPP loans, payroll protection. And he said the first thing people need to do is get with their CPA and their banker.
Yeah.
That's what they need to do.
All right. Do we have Dan? Yep. Go ahead, Dan. What's your question? Oh, hang on, buddy. There we go. This is all live. So if anyone who doesn't think this is live, this is what you get with live. Go ahead, Dan. Go for it.
I have 3 businesses that I'm affiliated with and more than a 20% ownership on. And I'm wondering, am I able to apply for the PPP in all 3 of the businesses?
That's a great question, and I've gotten that question a lot. So in all 3 of those businesses, do you have payroll in each one of those businesses?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so in the PPP, the whole point of this is to protect your employees, is to protect the paychecks, is to keep the paychecks flowing in those businesses. So as long as you've got less than 500 employees, you are going to be okay in applying for the PPP under each one of those companies.
Okay, great.
Now,
thank you.
In the 7B loans, the economic injury disaster loans, EIDL, that's what you're applying for when you're on the SBA website. Now, there is going to be some aspect of that related to your affiliate entities if you own more than 50%, was the way that it was reading on the old website. So that would only allow you to apply.
Yeah, I think it
loan.
said that.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Awesome.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for
And
the
you
question.
should be going for both of those, both of them. Right now, like Mike was saying, you only got your cash, your accounts receivable, your accounts payable, any debt that you owe. You need to be trying to get cash whichever way you possibly can.
You know, to answer the question, one of them is the EIDL and the PPP. If you get the EIDL, you can get the $10,000. And if they deny the loan, that $10,000 is your money and they can't come get it. If they give you the loan, you can apply for a PPP, which is a forgivable loan. And the forgivable loan, they'll just apply the EILD against the PPP. So essentially, it's one and the same. Okay, it's really one and the same. And that go for the EILD, get the $10,000, go for the PPP, and if you happen to get it, they just net the 2 out. So you're allowed 2.5 months of payroll. The idea the government said is let's put something together that gets people 2.5 months. Hopefully we're out of this in 2.5 months. Let's pay people's payroll for 2.5 months. That was their concept. So if you apply for it, get the 2.5 months, regardless of which one you use, they kind of net each other out in a sense.
Okay, super.
I got to be honest with you guys. It is awesome to have the experience and the wisdom, and for Mike Halloran, the really good looks too.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, JD.
But now JD, you're looking good too. But
I can't compete.
I like the beard. But honestly, if you're there's well over 300 in the Zoom and thousands online. If you're looking for this kind of immediate access to Brandon Dawson or Mike Halloran, I do want to just take a quick moment. Can we show back here our friend Josh, who's in the chat? We do tomorrow at noon, we do a call. That's great. I love that, Josh. Thank you. We do a call tomorrow. It's very intimate. It's less than 300. It's very private. We guarantee every question is answered. It is called 10x360 Roundtable. We do it every single Wednesday at noon Pacific time. And if you want to join that roundtable, you have to chat with Josh. It's jdawson@cardoneventures.com to get into that private roundtable so that you can get this kind of experience on a granular level every Wednesday. That's at 12 o'clock Pacific time. So either email Josh or just hit him in the chat. He can DM you privately in the Zoom if you want to join the roundtable. Let's get to our next question. Who are we going with next? Jim? All right, let's pull up Jim. Jim, you've got everyone's attention. What's your question?
What's up, guys? What's up, Brandon, Josh, Mike, JD? I got off a call earlier today with a group of Florida CFOs, and there were a couple of things I wanted to pass on to the group. It seems like banks are not really playing ball with lending against their AR right now. I think there's a significant concern that the collection rates on that AR may not materialize in the previous patterns. So this may not apply to some of the smaller shops on this call, but folks that do have the ability to borrow against their AR, you may see that happening. And I had a general question because someone else mentioned this. Folks that have business interruption insurance this would probably not qualify traditionally, but a recommendation was given to apply for your business insurance loss recovery clause, because there's a feeling, there's some rumblings in government that they may, in the next stimulus package, whatever comes out next out of the Trump administration, they may do something for the insurance companies to actually allow for companies to apply for business interruption insurance. I don't know if you guys have been hearing anything about that on your side, from your colleagues. I just wanted to put that out there for the group.
That's great, great information. What I want to say to people is, this probably won't be the last iteration of something coming out as well, but to what JD said and what Mike talks about, get your house in order right now. Get your P&Ls, get things clean, get your taxes, like get everything in order right now so that you can take advantage of these things. Or if you won't be able to have evidence-based information to apply for this stuff, you're going to be at the end of the line, and it's not going to be it's not going to be resources that will be so plentiful that you don't need to worry about that. So, number one priority: get everything in order right now.
Well, and I agree on that, getting everything in order for sure. But what I've been trying to allow people to understand as well, that, just because a couple days goes by doesn't mean that you're going to be at the back of the line per se. Like people that are on this webinar, I mean, that are on these Zoom calls, that are in this kind of a network, we're forward thinkers. And so we are going to be ahead of the majority of everybody anyways. And so you really can't even apply for these PPP loans until 6 is when banks are most likely going to be ready. They're required to be ready by April 11th. So next week is going to be a big week for banks to be able to see how they're going to be able to handle these applications. So it would be very, very beneficial, I believe, to have everything applied for by the end of next week at the latest. So if you're working with somebody, if you're working with your banker, you're working with a professional, I highly recommend you do that. Be pushing them to get you this information that you need to be submitting, and these applications, to make sure you get those submitted next week.
Perfect. And if you don't have anybody that you're working with, we'll provide a link and an email address to JD so that you can get guidance and advice and join some of his programs that he's specifically talking about relative to these specific initiatives.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Let's move on to Stephanie now. Stephanie's got a question, I believe. Are we going audio only with Stephanie? Okay. Stephanie, while we'd love to see your face, it sounds like we're going to go audio only with you. What's your question, Stephanie?
So the question that I have is that as we move forward with this and everything that's happening, I know that there's some tax benefits as well to maintaining your employees, JD. What are the particular tax benefits under the CARES Act?
For keeping your employees?
Yes.
Yes. So there's a couple different aspects of the act that will help you. So number one is, as of April 2nd, you're going to be able to defer your payroll taxes for your employees. So you can defer those the rest of the year, and you can defer them to where you only pay 50% of them in 2021 and 50% in 2022. So that doesn't eliminate the payroll taxes, but at least helps you on a cash flow perspective. And you need to contact your payroll company. If you're outsourcing your payroll, you need to contact them in order to help you to make sure that they've got that set up correctly. So that's one way you can save some cash right now. The other aspect of the act that's going to benefit employees is related to the employee retention tax credit. Now, this is a refundable tax credit that's available, that if your revenue has decreased 50% compared to the prior year quarter, if you retain your employees and keep them employed, they will give you up to a 50% credit of the employee's wages for that period. So that credit, though, isn't going to happen immediately, that I can tell right now. It might be on your tax return later on in the year. So it's really difficult right now for business owners to decide whether or not to keep employees and take advantage of that credit, or to conserve their cash right now and have their entity survive. That's the question that you're having to answer. That's the difficult decisions, like Brandon was talking about, that we're having to advise on. But those are the two aspects that you're able to take advantage of relative to employees and the and the CARES Act.
And we're going to be updating. Here's the thing. For everybody on this call, we're going to be doing updates. Mike Halloran's going to be doing updates. JD's going to be doing updates. It's really important. The company you keep right now, the guidance that you're listening to, the perspectives that you're hearing are going to be really super important for you. For how you move forward, because there's a lot of misinformation, a lot of poor information, and a lot of stress in the system. And I think trying to provide you guys instantaneous access to people who have a high level of awareness, understanding, and professionalism in doing this is something that we're really committed to doing for you.
You know, to what Brandon's saying, it's really critical that you get with your CPA. One of the things, JD, you might want to do is put your phone number in the Zoom group chat. So people, if they don't have a CPA and they need some guidance, they have a place to call and call quickly.
And one thing that I'm doing right now, and this is not meant to be any kind of a pitch or anything like that, but I know that there's a need for this community. There's a need for a place to go get answers. There's a need to get templates and calculators and information, frequently asked questions. So I've got a private Facebook group that's called the $2 Trillion Club, the $2 Trillion Club. And if you go to www.2trillionclub.com and put in the code 10X, you can join that. And what I'm doing is every day at 5 p.m., I'm coming into that club and that private Facebook group, and I am talking about what is going on with the act, with the CARES Act. This is going to continue for the next 4, 5, 6 months, I believe. And I'm doing that every day and addressing anybody's questions all at one time, because a lot of the questions that we have, the specific questions even to your company, are going to be specific questions that people need to have answers for. And being a part of that community that's going to be talking about all things financial, how important it is for your balance sheet to be right, that's what we're going to be talking about as well on a daily basis in there. So that's something that I would love for people to be a part of. If you want to join something like that, the discount code is 10X. 10X.
Awesome. Thank you, JD.
Love that. Yeah.
So let's go to some questions.
We got more questions.
Yep.
Tim Uselton is standing by. Tim, perfect. I think I'm saying your last name right. I know we've met before, and I don't think I've ever used your last name. I hope I'm nailing it though. But go for it.
Okay.
What's your question?
It's pronounced Usselton.
Usselton. That's right.
Like
okay.
Or must. Yeah.
Good to see you, buddy.
So
go for it.
My question is twofold. One is just a simple clarification. I was told by a banker today that you could not get into the AIDL and the PPP loan program. You had to be in one or the other. And Mike just said something that I think was a little different than that.
Yeah, that's not true. My understanding is you clearly can do both and at each other out. So essentially what he's saying, you can't double dip. So if you go for the EILD loan, it will, and then you apply for the PPP, they'll take whatever you got in the EILD and reduce your PPP loan by it. So they're combined.
Okay, excellent. Well, my real question was, if you apply for the AIDL, one of our companies that we own actually showed a loss for 2019. If you do that initial AIDL loan and you put in the numbers they asked for and you actually show that loss, will that affect the loan in any way?
I think that it will affect the loan. The EIDL basically is subject to credit check. They're going to be looking at your credit score. They're also going to be looking at your financial statements. It's going to be more of a traditional underwriting kind of process. They're also going to be looking at your debt coverage ratios. So you're going to submit the application, and that's perfect, but you're going to have some additional work to do to describe to the SBA lender exactly why in the world you should have this and they should be lending this to you in order for you to be able to make that payment. What's interesting about that process is they're not really asking you to apply for a certain amount. You're not like requesting a certain amount. They're basically telling you, look, based off the financials that you've submitted, the tax returns, personal financial statement, all of that we're going to let you know what we think you can afford based off that information. So depending on your collateral, your personal financial statement, that's probably going to depend whether or not you can get a loan with that business that had a loss.
Gotcha.
But I personally think they want to get this money into the system as fast as possible. And your opportunity to go get money, other people's money right now, which it's really all of our money anyways, is right now. You need to take advantage of this opportunity.
Perfect.
Perfect. Thank you.
Let's head over to Brandon, who's got a question. Guys, just so you know, if you have more questions, please put them in the chat and we will get to them at some point. Brandon will be answering some of your questions in the chat and we'll be posting those on social later. So continue with the questions. We have less than 10 minutes for 10X Owners Live. Brandon, what's your question, buddy?
Brandon Soraka?
Yep, that's you, buddy. Go for it.
Okay. So yeah, I lost 30% of my workload. Our industry, forestry, is getting slammed due to market drop. I was thinking about offering 15% discount to our clients for signing on a new project with us. The work is remote, so we can work safely according to legislation. My hope would be that we get more work, maintain our best staff, and possibly bring on new experienced staff from competitors. Do you think this would be a good tactic? I tried bringing additional value, but it appears a lot of things right now are coming down to budgets and dollars.
Yeah, so my question to you, Brandon, is what are the top 3 objections? Are your customers telling you they have no money and they cannot spend any money with you? Like, the quality of your questions will determine the quality of your results. So I'm going to ask you a question here. Are they telling you they have no money and they cannot spend any money with you, or are they telling you they're conserving money because they're afraid of the future?
Yeah, they're telling me that they're uncertain of the market and that their budgets are getting cut from their higher ups in their divisions. So they're basically looking at dollars and they're saying that, hey, we're not really wanting to do anything right now, and we're just kind of hitting pause or just kind of taking lowest bidder. So.
And what is the first question that you ask when somebody gives you that objection?
First question I would ask is,
business owners, this is your problem, right? Like Brandon, the first question you ask is, ask them, what would be something that would be inspiring or motivating enough for them to choose to go ahead and peel off a piece of that budget on something they know they're going to have to spend money on anyway? What would they need to see in order to motivate them to engage you so that you can continue the process and get to work? Because if you don't have, so when someone gives you an objection, if you don't have a great follow-up question and another one in order to determine if they're just pushing you off because that's easier than actually engaging you. And a lot of times, businesses or other businesses or people, especially in something they know they're going to have to spend money on anyway. So I would ask, what's the likelihood you're going to have to spend some money doing this in the next 12 months anyway? Is it high or low? What would they say?
Most likely they would say, high.
It's high.
We'll have to spend some money,
Yep, and then I would follow up with that and say, then if it's a high likelihood you have to spend money on this anyway, what could we do to lock in today to make sure that you're getting, for making a bold move and locking it in today so I can keep my team and I can be able to serve you? What do we need to do in order to make a decision to move forward today so we both know that that's off your checklist and I know I can plan for the next 12 months and you know you're going to spend the money anyway, so this is a huge value proposition. So pull money forward. Don't discount your current money, pull money forward. Give deals for people that are willing to make commitments and pull money from the future. Don't take your existing business that people are paying you and just immediately offer a discount, or the people who are going about business as usual, you're discounting it for no particular reason.
Okay.
Perfect.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does, yeah.
All right, master your best 3 questions when you get an objection so that when a customer tells you something, you have an immediate instant on. You should be training on Cardone. Let me just tell everybody that's listening to this. If you are not training for 20 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day if you're not writing down the objections you're getting right now, and then watching and listening to Cardone U, and then drill, practice, and rehearsing the quality of your responses to the objections that you're getting, then you are going to be destined to lose in this marketplace. Flip that around. If you're on Cardone U and you're doing that exercise and you're able to break through and you're able to overcome those objections and you're able to win in this market, then you're going to have a head of steam because your confidence is going to be high. The way you get your competitors' employees to go to work for you is they see that you had a strategy to keep your team. You had a cool head about you. You had your business in order. You knew how to fight and win even when the market was tough and times were hard because you stuck to the basics, overcoming the objections with the best questions and then getting it concluded to do business and survive is something all of you need to be working on right now, because it will be the thing that will allow you to go to scaling. That discipline is what you need to go to scaling in the future anyway. So use this moment to master yourself. And if you can't answer me when I throw an objection out, you can't answer your client. Therefore, you're causing more objections and you're causing the decline and ruin of your own business. So Brandon, I'm being hard on you. Cardone U, are you on Cardone U?
Oh, we have him muted. What did he say, yes?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
Are you doing your 20 or 30 minutes every morning?
Yes.
Okay, you write these objections down every moment you get them. That's the new objection you're going to master overcoming using Cardone U, and then work with your team so that you can practice with your team. Keep your best guys and tell them this is what we're going to do. You will find a nuance breakthrough. Remember I talked about break points, right? Break points will take you down, or there'll be moments in time where you'll elevate up, okay? So the way you elevate them up is you take these strenuous moments of time and you overcome them very granularly, building into your confidence so you have that energy when moments are good and you're well prepared for it.
Okay, really quickly, thanks, Brandon. Appreciate it, buddy. We're going to get to one last question here. We'll go just a little over 6 o'clock. I would love listen, Zoom has become normal. Kids in the room during meetings, it's all normal. This is the new normal. I need everyone to turn their cameras on. We're going to do a massive group selfie together. There's so many of you in here tonight. I want to do something that brings us all together. I want a big group selfie. So while everyone, go ahead, I'll give you, while we take our last question from Efren here, get your hair done or put on the wallpaper you want behind you on Zoom, whatever it is. We're going to do this right after this question. Efren, go for it, buddy. The floor is yours. You've got JD Frost, Mike Halloran, Brandon Dawson, some massive business minds here. Efren, whenever you're ready, ask your question.
Thank you, guys. Much appreciated. I feel like I'm not even worthy. I wish I had a better question. The question is for smaller companies that are using PEOs. How do they get, because I think one of the things with the PPP plan and all that stuff, sorry, this is all not my area of expertise, but what if you're on the payroll taxes are going differently, you're part of a PEO. I hope that makes sense. How do you navigate that?
That's a great question. I have had a couple clients ask me about this, and I'll be perfectly honest with you. It's not something that I've been able to find a really solid answer on yet, to be honest with you. Mike, have you found a solid answer on that? Because my thought on this is part of the PPP that you're coming up with is your actual payroll. It is your subcontractors that you're paying. It's utilities, mortgage interest, rent, all of these payments that you're making on a regular basis. In my mind, that is the whole point that they have behind the CARES Act, is to continue payroll moving forward. So logically, to me, if they're going to be doing that and you have a PEO that you're using, and those really are your employees, they're not technically your employees, but it is 1099. Could it be 1099 or service work that you're paying for? Would that be a part of it? Because if you're not paying that, then they're not going to get paid, and that's not working in the system of protecting the paychecks.
Yeah, so, we really don't use 1099s. These are all employees. There are our employees, but we're with like TriNet, right? Because
right.
Better benefits and all that stuff. We got 50-something employees, 56.
Right. So that's a part of your payroll cost. So that has to be included in that. Has to be included in that calculation. And so I had one other client ask me about that last night, and I haven't been able to take the time to get him an exact answer. But that's the kind of stuff that we're talking about on a regular basis in that $2 trillion club.
Cool. And the $2 trillion club, you said that's on Facebook? I'm sorry.
Yes, it's a private Facebook group. Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
You know, the government's scrambling right now to put out more guidance, but just know your question, that's exactly what they're trying to do, is get payroll and continue payroll. So, you know, I would move forward with the assumption you qualify.
Yes.
And go at it, because then let them deny it. But my guess is you're right in line with what they're trying to do.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thank you.
I don't know about you, Brandon, but I'm feeling a morning radio show here, JD and Mike in the morning. They have a little finance show between you guys.
I love Mike. Mike's my hero.
I love it.
You know, it's funny. It's the one topic whenever we're doing any events or anything. It's the one topic everybody brings their pillow out and takes their Dramamine and takes the snooze. But right now, everybody's engaged. Just imagine, guys, if you knew when you joined this career, if every day was going to be like today, where everybody wants to know what you know.
That's so true.
It's the most exciting time for me right now. I have to admit, as a CPA, I know it sucks. I get it, but everybody, there is a lot of opportunity out there. This is, if you make it through this, some more experienced business owners, if you make it through this, you are going to dominate your industry. You're going to dominate your space.
Love that.
And that's the thing. Well, you're talking about calling your customers. That's one thing I tell Brandon, man. I would be calling your customers every day, people that have done business with you all the time. Ask them for people that they know, talk to them. You want to start just exploding your network, because everybody that you're competing against or that you've been competing against, they're all contracting right now. All of them are contracting. And so you reach out to those, start growing that network, just be on the phone. That's going to go a long, long way in this time.
Thanks, JD. I appreciate that, brother.
Yeah.
So, hey, listen, 10X Owners Live, this event is for you to ask us questions. We're going to continue to build this community. One of the things Grant Cardone said to me is, we need to be accessible. You have all this business experience and skills with these people, with finance and marketing with Buck, and myself with strategy, and then Grant's got the Mentors Call, and he's got programs going on. The encouragement I would give you is, pick your friends wisely right now. Mm-hmm. Pick your mentors wisely. Pick who you're associating with. Protect. Grant was talking about this in the last couple days. Protect the quality of conversations you're having. Do not allow people who are distracted, who are confused, who are drifting, who are being emotional, who are being distraught. Look, those are all emotions that we understand. It's okay to have those emotions, but you need to have a place where you can move yourself into logical thinking, because there's going to be so many opportunities when all this confusion gets cleared away and we're back into heads down mode. You're going to be so busy. Now is the time to put your strategy in place. Now is the time to understand what your value proposition is. Now is the time to find the nuances and to train your team and to be prepared. Getting the rhythm of doing these things every day and preparing yourself, because what's going to happen, and what we'll find out next week, is how maybe our special forces trains to be in the moment. When I have my friend come on, Adam, and talk to you guys, talk about how they train. So much effort and energy goes into training to be on when you have to be, and to isolate in the moment in order to give everything your absolute best. Look, here's the way we monetize this program. I have all these business programs, the 10X 360 program, the Scale Up program, we have the boot camps, we have all these programs that we provide to you guys, the platforming we do, the 10X owners, the 10X employees. So here's the commitment. If you want to be in our private group, you heard JD has his 2 trillion club. If you want to be in our private group, where my whole executive team is pooling our mentors, we're asking questions, we're giving finite information, about specific details on our Zoom calls, and then following up with people who don't get answered on the Zoom call, but we want to be a source of the most relevant, the most impactful information. If you join that program, it's $995. Josh will reach out to you. You can go to all of our private groups, you can ask the questions, and then that money you can roll into a 10X 360 so that when you're ready to go and put the structure together to grow your business to the next level with finance, accounting, human resources, strategy, all the elements with marketing, sales, the sales cycle, all the little granular things that will protect your business from not being in a position to not only weather storms like this, but thrive through them with the resources that you need. This is the time to do that. So any dollars you invest, and this is the pull money forward, like build relationships with the right people. Pay to play right now with the information and the people that you need to be listening to, and get the rest of the noise out of your ears, and let's grow together. Let's work through this together. Things are changing daily, and then let us help you by building a relationship with us. Position yourself for the next round of growth in the whole Cardone family and enterprise. And we're going to do our part here at Cardone Ventures. And then this book is going to come out in the next 10 days or so, the Emergency Business Protocol. So go to CardoneVentures/emergency, and you can get a copy of that book. It's going to come out in an ebook. And also, if you want to join our future webinars, it's CardoneVentures.com. What is it, /
If you want to be a part of the 360 Roundtable, yeah, they need to email Josh J. Dawson at CardoneVentures.com, or just raise your hand in the chat, and Josh can get your email directly here in the chat. So I highly recommend that if you are looking for more advice and you want to get really granular with some of this information, you get in the chat, or just if you're not in the chat and you don't want to get in the chat, go to jdawson at Cardone Ventures and just email our buddy Josh back here. But I have a little piece of inspiration from somebody that you love, Brandon, that I'm going to play here in just a second.
Perfect.
To play us out with some inspo. But first, everybody get the cameras on, and pull your phone out. I want to see everyone. I'm looking at all of you right now. Let's go full grid right now. Full grid. I love that. All right, everybody pull your phones out. We're going to do like this massive Zoom selfie, and I'm going to count to 3. I got all of you in the back here. 1, 2, 3. Look at that, all the shots. Did you take a screenshot there, Bryce? I love that.
Yeah, hey, everybody, let's get a 10X going, too. Let's
see the 10X. All right, now I want you to post those on Instagram, and I want you to tag us at Brandon M. Dawson and at Cardone Ventures. So post your selfies with everybody here at 10X Owners Live. Let's get this community going stronger online. I want you to tag us at Brandon M, as in Mary Dawson, Brandon M. Dawson, or at Cardone Ventures. Tag us both right there, and we'll make sure that we get all your photos shared. I want to see what you're looking like at home right now.
And it could be at Brandon M, as in Money Dawson.
Oh, Brandon Money Dawson. Okay, fine. From now on, it's Brandon Money Dawson. I get it. So let's really quickly, just a little bit of inspiration. Thank you again to JD Frost for joining us. It was really great to have you. I think in a couple more weeks, things are going to change drastically. I'd love to have you back, to have you chat with Mike and Brandon one more time. Let's see, to play us out here, Susan Lecter, somebody that you're really familiar with.
Sharon
Lecter. Sharon Lecter, she has a piece on positivity, and so I wanted to just leave us with this piece on positivity.
For today's positivity challenge, think
We
back
got audio
about
on
when
that,
you
Bryce?
said, if I only had the time.
Let's try it again.
For
We're gonna
today's
let's roll
positivity
that back.
challenge,
Sharon
think back
Lecter.
about when you
No audio
said,
still?
if I only had the time.
There we go. Let's try it
For
again.
today's positivity challenge, think back about when you said, if I only had the time to, or if only when. Now's the time. When you have this downtime, events are being canceled, things are slowing down, you're staying home more, now is the time to do those if only when. Maybe it's time to write your book. Maybe it's time to clean out the garage. Maybe it's time to focus on where you have been in your business and where you want to go. Be positive about what you want. Be productive. Pull out those if only when. if I had time, I could. And make those coulds become reality. Make it a positive day and keep smiling.
Love that. Isn't that great?
That's awesome.
And so there is a chance that we might be able to get Sharon on as well.
Yeah, so I talked to Sharon, so she wants to come on the show. So it's my commitment. I'm going to have a whole bunch of guests on these shows, and we're going to be lining them up. I promise you, if my guy can make it, Adam, I know you're watching, so I'll be reaching out to you tomorrow. But I've got a really super special guest for next Tuesday.
Love that.
Dear friend of mine, great business owner, great country, committed to our country, and I just love to have you guys hear from him. So I'm really excited about next week. And then tomorrow we have our 10X Owners Roundtable.
That's right. We're going to do the 360 Roundtable tomorrow. So if you are wanting to join and get that private access where we guarantee every question is answered, please email jdawson@cardoneventures.com. Thank you guys so much for another awesome 10X Owners Live, Brandon.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to getting my book out to you guys.
That's right. Yep. Have a good night, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow at noon on the Roundtable.